What's going on, everyone? This is Kevin here, coming at you with my hands-on and first impressions video of the Nokia G310 5G. So without further ado, let's get started. So this is the new Nokia G310 5G. Now this phone is very interesting for multiple reasons, but the first thing that makes it especially cool is that it actually features quick fix, user repairable design. So this is a new thing that Nokia is promoting with this phone. Essentially, this phone is designed to be repaired by the user, so I'm not exactly sure what things people would be breaking here with the device, but basically it's more repairable than your typical smartphone. So something worth keeping in mind. Now this phone is being offered at both Metro by T-Mobile and the regular postpaid T-Mobile, and I will be linking to it in the video description, so definitely take a look to see the most up-to-date pricing and availability. But essentially this phone is meant to be very affordable, but then with that quick fix user repairable design, it's designed to have a bit more longevity compared to your typical budget smartphone. So that's very good, and in addition to that, it looks like this phone features an eco-friendly box, so there's a lot of things Nokia is doing right now with this device to promote better environmental sustainability. But before we get too far into things here with the device itself, let's see what all comes included in the box. So you can see in the front of the box, we have a picture of the actual phone itself, Nokia logo, also the name of the phone. You can see that this phone is powered by Snapdragon, which is awesome. And then inside of the box, we have some literature here. So a quick start guide. We also have a USB-C cable for charging and data transfer. So this is a double-sided USB-C cable, which is great. And then finally, we do have a SIM card removal tool, as you can see right there. So with the Nokia G310 5G, we are getting a 6.56-inch display, and it does feature Corning Gorilla Glass 3, which does make it a bit extra durable. Now, in addition to that, the display itself is IPS LCD, and we are getting a 90 Hz refresh rate. Keep in mind that if you do want that faster refresh rate at 90 Hz, you do have to go to the display settings, then from here, go to refresh rate, and then switch it from standard to 90 Hz. Then after doing that, things run a lot smoother here, and you can really tell the difference. Now this device does feature a 720p display. We are getting a PPI of 269, a 20:9 aspect ratio, so a more narrow but taller form factor, and we're getting an 82.7% screen-to-body ratio. So while I would have preferred 1080p over 720p, I've got to say for a 720p display, things are pretty decently crisp and clear here. You'd certainly have no problem using this phone for reading an article online, or reading an ebook, or watching a movie. All those various things are going to be great on here, and especially with that very large 6.56-inch display, we're getting a very big canvas for watching that content. So in general, I'm very happy with the overall design of this smartphone. Now we do have a water drop notch up top, and in that notch is an 8 megapixel front-facing camera. Now stay tuned for my full review video of this device, as I'll be showing you a variety of different photo and video samples from all the various cameras here on the phone. But in addition to that water drop notch up top, we also have a slightly thicker bottom bezel, but again, I am pretty happy with the design that we're getting here, and especially for an affordable device, you really can't ask for too much. Now, another cool thing about this phone is that we're getting a lot of internal storage. So we're getting 128 gigabytes of storage along with microSD card expansion. So I'm not sure how much space you're using on your current phone, or even what the maximum storage is on your device, but I think for most people, 128 gigabytes will give them a nice upgrade here. And at a bare minimum, you'll probably not even need that much storage. But if you do happen to find yourself kind of running low in internal space, it is at least nice that you can always add in a microSD card to offload photos and videos, for example. Now with the Nokia G310 5G, there is no wireless charging, but this phone does feature a fingerprint sensor on the power button. So let's give that a try right now. And as you can see, it's very responsive and accurate. Let's try that one more time. So that works really great. So in addition to the fingerprint sensor, this phone also features face unlock, so I do appreciate that we have multiple methods here for accessing the phone. Now on the backside of the device, we are getting a triple camera setup with a 50 megapixel main camera, a 2 megapixel depth sensing camera for portrait mode, and a 2 megapixel macro camera for close-up images. And then we are getting portrait mode with both the rear and front cameras on this device, which is certainly a really great thing. But here's how things look on the camera app. This is the main rear camera right now. Then from there, you can go over to portrait mode. I'm going to skip that. But on portrait mode, you can get these nice blurred out backgrounds, and then you can flip around to the front-facing camera to take portrait selfies. You can also take standard selfies as well if you wish. So I do appreciate there's a lot of options, and thanks for all of the info here. Let's go over now to the More tab, and you can access the macro camera. And then with macro, you can get very close up and have things be in really good detail. We can then exit out of there, head back over to the standard photo mode, and then if you slide down, you'll see this option here for 50M. So that allows you to take photos in the full 50 megapixel mode. So even though the main camera is 50 megapixels, by default, it doesn't actually capture images in 50 megapixels. And the reason for that is because it takes up a lot more space on your device, and also capturing images at 50 megapixels does give you a slight delay here. But you can see I did capture this image in 50 megapixels, and then when you zoom in on the image, you can see that there's a lot of detail here. So whether you're using this method of taking a photo in 50 megapixels and then cropping in, or using the macro mode for close-up images, you do have a lot of options to get a lot of detail of the object that you're taking a photo of. And then video recording maxes out at 1080p for both the front and rear cameras. With the rear camera, you do have an option for 60 FPS video, but the front-facing camera is limited at 30 FPS. Now with the Nokia G310 5G, we're getting 4GB of RAM paired up with the Qualcomm Snapdragon 480 Plus 5G processor. Now, this configuration of RAM with that processor should give you a good experience, at least compared to what you'd expect with a lower-end smartphone. Certainly compared to a device that's $1,000, for example, you're not going to be getting nearly the performance, but that's probably not something you expect either. But if you are someone who wants a smartphone for the more basic tasks, such as capturing photos, going on the web here and there, answering some emails, answering phone calls and text messages, then this phone will be plenty fast for you. Now, I did run a benchmark test using Geekbench 6, and here are the scores that I got from that test. So I got a single core score of 746 and a multi-core score of 1797. So what I recommend doing is running this test on your current phone and then compare your scores to these scores to get a better idea of how the Nokia G310 5G holds up compared to your current device. Because you certainly wouldn't want to switch to this phone if it happens to actually be slower than the phone you have right now. But I have a feeling that based on these scores, this phone should be a pretty solid upgrade, especially if you're upgrading from something that's pretty lower end. So again, for a phone in this segment, I feel like we're getting a very good processor here, and overall this phone is full of different features that you'd expect to find with a much more expensive handset. Now with this phone, we are getting a 5000 milliamp hour internal battery along with 20 watt fast charging. So that's a really large battery giving you a lot of capacity there. You can easily get a full day of usage with a device like this with that size battery. And then being able to recharge it at such a rapid rate is another great thing as well. So overall, I'm really happy with the battery situation here with the phone, and I'm certainly looking forward to putting it to the test to get a better idea of how it actually holds up in the real world. Now this phone does feature Android 13 as the software, and it's pretty much a stock version of Android. So if you're used to using Android phones with stock Android, then just know that you'll feel right at home here with the Nokia G310 5G. And then with this device, we are getting NFC, which is great. So if you want to use the phone for mobile contactless payments using services such as Google Pay for tap and pay, then you can do that here. And that's something that you don't always find with lower end smartphones, so that's really good. And then this phone does feature dust and splash resistance, so it's not completely waterproof, but if you are outside and it's raining, don't be concerned that the phone will suddenly stop working because it is designed for that. So overall, again, we're getting a lot of different features here with this phone, especially considering that it is very low end. Now, taking a closer look at the hardware of this device, the phone is made completely of plastic besides the display, which is made of glass. But on the left side of the phone, we have just the slot for the microSD card and SIM card. On the right side, we have volume up, volume down, and also the power button, which doubles as the fingerprint sensor. Then up top here, we have the noise canceling microphone. And then on the bottom of the phone, we have the 3.5mm headphone jack, microphone, USB-C port for charging and data transfer, and we have the speaker. And then on the back of the device, we have the camera module, flash, and Nokia logo, and that's pretty much it. Now I am a fan of this material on the back of the device. I really like how it's more of a matte finish, but at the same time has kind of a cool wavy look to it. So overall, I think that looks really nice. So I think Nokia made a lot of great decisions here with the G310 5G, and I have a feeling this phone will be one of the best values out there when it comes to a lower end 5G enabled Android smartphone. So again, I have linked to this phone in the video description if you want to learn more about it from there, but also stay tuned for future videos coming out soon about this phone here on the channel. But this is Kevin here, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care and have a great rest of your day.